The out-of-control border crisis under President Biden exposing the threat from cartels and smugglers. The New York Post reporting, quote, in addition to the cocaine, methamphetamine, and fentanyl that they smuggle across the border, both the Sinaloa and Juarez cartels, who dominate parts of northern Mexico, have branched out into smuggling desperate migrants, according to authorities on both sides of the border. With more on this, Tom Homan, Fox News contributor and former acting ICE director. Tom, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
So we know these cartels are vicious. What is the impact on truly desperate migrants?
Well, look, the criminal cartels in Mexico, they control the northern border of Mexico. So even before they got into business of trafficking women, children, smuggling migrants, the smuggling organization had to pay a plaza fee, a tax, to work through their area of control. So they've always been involved. But these cartels are ruthless. That's why I said a lot of people attacked the Trump administration, where I worked, saying the policies were, inhumane. Let me remind them, illegal immigration was down 83%, a 35-year low. So when it's that low, when the organizations aren't moving people, less women are being sexually assaulted, less children are being abandoned in the desert to die, less children are drowning, and look, less migrants die. Bottom line is, a secure border saves lives. So call Trump policies whatever you want, but we saved thousands of lives. I talked to one sheriff in South Texas just last week. One sheriff has already found over 60 dead migrants in his county, people that died making this journey.
We know these cartels are transnational organizations. They have violent turf wars with each other, protecting their smuggling routes. What's the impact on our men and women at the border?
Well, look, they're overwhelmed. Like, Border Patrol was already on record, 40 to 50% of their manpower is no longer on the line because they're in facilities processing people. When half the Border Patrol is not on the line, that's when these criminal cartels take advantage of these gaps. During the Del Rio crisis, 224 miles of border were unguarded. Last week in Yuma, every Border Patrol agent was pulled in to process these family groups, and hundreds were crossing the line, walking into the city of Yuma unimpeded. So the Border Patrol is already overwhelmed, and these cartels are ruthless. This is when they start moving the fentanyl that's killed over 100,000 people this year. It's not a coincidence at the highest level of illegal immigration this year. Record numbers of illegal immigration under Joe Biden. At the same time, record number of fentanyl overdoses. It's because the border's open, the border's vulnerable, and there's big gaps, and the cartels are taking advantage of it.
Texas Congressman Henry Cuellar, a Democrat, represents about 200 miles of the border. He had a stunning quote about Vice President Kamala Harris to the New York Times. Let's put it on the screen. He said, "I say this very respectfully to her. I moved on. She was tasked with that job. It doesn't look like she's very interested in this, so we're going to move on to other folks that work on this issue." Reminder, he's a Democrat. Tom, what's his options? To work with state officials to try to get a handle on the border?
Yeah, I think he can work with the governor of Texas. He can also work with the Arizona government. Look, Henry Cuellar is a patriot. Look, I don't always agree with his stances, but let me tell you something. He believes in a secure border. He wants to protect migrants from the death and the mayhem that they're getting put through right now by these cartels. He wants Texas to be safe. He wants the laws enforced, and he also wants some sort of fix to this whole immigration crisis. And if the laws don't work, then fix them. He's a common sense congressman. I don't care. He's a Democrat, Republican. He's always been a common sense guy, and I respect him greatly. But look, the governor of Texas is stepping up. He's a real Secretary of Homeland Security because Alejandro Mayorkas hasn't done a thing to secure the border or slow the flow, but Governor Abbott has. The state of Arizona is stepping up. The state of Florida is stepping up. So states are stepping up because the federal government has advocated their responsibility to secure this border, which are required to do under the Constitution.
Part of the congressman's frustration is likely the fact the vice president has not been to his district, which, again, has about 200 miles of international border. Tom Homan, we have to leave it there. Thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.